Picture this, fields of golden wheat in Kansas reduced to ash, not by accident, but by the hands of farmers who once fed the world. Across America, a seismic shift is unfolding, one that's reshaping our grocery bills, our meals, and the very future of our economy. Welcome to Top 10 America Beyond, where we dive into the stories that matter most to our nation's heartland. Today we're counting down the top 10 regions where American agriculture is faltering, while Canada quietly claims markets we once dominated. From silent orchards to overflowing silos, this is a tale of loss, resilience, and a changing global order. Stick with us as we uncover what's happening and what it means for you. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Top 10 America Beyond for more stories that uncover the pulse of our nation. Now, let's start our countdown.
Top 10 America Beyond.
Number 10, Iowa, a harvest without buyers. In Iowa, the fields are a sea of green, with corn and soybeans stretching to the horizon. This year, farmers achieved a record-breaking harvest, 2.6 billion bushels of corn and 600 million bushels of soybeans, the highest in state history. Yet the silos are full, and the mood is grim. Why? Because no one is buying. Soybean prices have plummeted below production costs, and corn barely breaks even. Farmers in Cedar Rapids and Fort Dodge are renting warehouses in neighboring states, piling soybeans into garages, hoping for better prices next year. But when will that be? The pain ripples beyond the fields. A gas stations see fewer customers, local diners skip post-harvest gatherings, and schools offer counseling for farmers grappling with the weight of a season's work gone unsold. While Iowa's bounty sits idle, Canada's Manitoba province is celebrating. Their processed grains, cornmeal, pellet feed, and premium livestock feed are already contracted to South Korea, China, and the Philippines. Manitoba's railcars roll smoothly to Vancouver's port, backed by cold storage and standardized inspections. Iowa's farmers plant and harvest as they always have, but the world has moved on. A June heat wave slashed labor productivity and spiked cooling costs, while nitrate levels in Iowa soil raised concerns about food quality. This isn't just a bad season, it's a warning of a deeper disconnect in the global supply chain. As Iowa's silos overflow, Manitoba signs new deals. What happens when a state's best harvest becomes its heaviest burden? How do you think this surplus affects the farmer's hope for next season? Number 9, Texas, empty barns and fading dreams. From Iowa's overflowing silos, we head south to Texas, where the once thriving beef industry faces a starkly different crisis. Texas, the heart of America's red meat legacy, has long supplied millions of pounds of beef weekly to supermarkets and restaurants. But in 2025, the state's cattle herd has shrunk by 12%, and beef exports dropped 15% to £3 billion in Q compared to 2022. The issue? Global markets like Japan, South Korea, and Singapore now demand traceability and hormone-free guarantees, standards many Texas ranchers struggle to meet. Over 100 feedlots have shuttered, and slaughterhouses have slashed capacity, leaving thousands of jobs lost in towns like Amarillo and Lubbock. Loading docks stand empty, and ranch for sale signs dot the landscape. Meanwhile, Canada's Alberta and Manitoba are seizing the moment. Their beef exports hit $1.22 billion in the first 4 months of 2025, up 19% from last year, with growth in South Korea 10%, Taiwan 79%, and the Philippines 31%. Using QR codes to trace each cow's journey, Canada meets halal and ESG standards, securing 3 to 5 year contracts. In Texas, diners shrink portions, and restaurants turn to imports from Australia or Brazil. The iconic American steak is fading, replaced by smaller cuts from abroad. This isn't just about beef, it's about a legacy slipping away. Texas ranches are closing, but Canada's exports soar. Can America reclaim its place in the global beef market? What do you think this means for the future of family-owned ranches? Number 8, California, the silent vegetable fields. Leaving Texas's empty barns, we arrive in California's Salinas Valley, once dubbed the nation's green heart. Here, fields of romaine lettuce and broccoli should be bustling with activity. Instead, they're eerily silent. In Q2 2025, California lost $900 million in vegetable export value as contracts with Japan, Singapore, the UK, France, and Mexico vanished. Why? Labor shortages and logistical breakdowns left crops wilting under the June sun. Farmers plowed fields mid-season as storing unpicked produce cost more than harvesting. Supermarket shelves reflect the toll. A bunch of lettuce now costs over $6, pushing consumers to frozen alternatives or skipping greens entirely. Across the border, Ontario and British Columbia are filling the gap. Canada's vegetable exports reached $3.84 billion in Q2 2025, with orders to Japan and Singapore doubling and the UK shifting 40% of its leafy greens to Canadian suppliers. Upgraded cold storage and temperature-linked transport ensure every carrot and celery stalk arrives fresh. In California, low-income families in Fresno and Sacramento cut vegetable intake to once or twice weekly, and a Fresno packing plant faced a botulism scare due to short-staffed quality checks. The silence in Salinas isn't just about crops, it's about a system unraveling. California's fields are quiet, but Canada's exports thrive. How does paying $6 for lettuce change your grocery habits? What can be done to bring workers back to these fields? Number 7, Washington, orchards left unpicked. From California's silent fields, we travel north to Washington, where cherry orchards in Tree Cities and Wenatchee tell a similar story of loss. June 2025 should have been a frenzy of picking and packing, but a chilling rumor of nearby IC patrols sent entire labor crews fleeing overnight. Teams that once numbered 150 dwindled to 30, leaving hundreds of acres of cherries untouched. A one-week delay in this perishable crop means total loss, and cold storage units sat idle as contracts were cancelled. Orchard owners watched helplessly as fruit fell, each cherry $1 lost. In Seattle, cherry prices doubled, yet shelves remained bare, a cruel irony during peak season. British Columbia, however, is reaping the rewards. The BC Cherry Association secured 2025 contracts with China, South Korea, Japan, the EU, and the UK, hitting a record 5 million boxes. These deals, worth $300 million, were once Washington's. Canada's climate-controlled storage and premium packaging keep cherries fresh until October, and a 54% tariff on US fruit pushed buyers north. Packing plants in Surrey and Kelowna hum with activity, while Washington's logistics firms and diners feel the ripple effects. This isn't just a lost season, it's a lost market. Washington's cherries rot, but BC's exports boom. What does it mean when a state can't sell its own fruit? How would you feel standing in an orchard full of unsold cherries? Number 6, Kansas, fields turn to ash. Our countdown brings us to Kansas, where the crisis began with flames. Once America's breadbasket, Kansas's wheat fields now lie under ash, deliberately set ablaze by farmers. In 2021, the state produced 20% of US wheat, fueling billions in revenue and feeding nations like Egypt and Nigeria. Today, harvesters gather dust and silos stand empty. Soaring costs for fertilizer, fuel, and equipment, combined with unrenewed tax breaks in 2025, have crushed farmers. The Farm Bureau estimates a $50 billion loss for U.S. agriculture over the next decade. Labor shortages with 40% fewer workers due to immigration crackdowns left wheat unharvested. Burning crops for insurance became the only way to survive. Saskatchewan, meanwhile, is thriving. In 2024, its non-durum wheat exports hit $1.7 billion, part of a $45.4 billion agricultural haul. New contracts with the Philippines, Bangladesh, and Japan reflect Canada's reliability. Investments in rail lines, cold storage, and the Campus to Crop program train young farmers in drone pest monitoring and yield forecasting. Kansas youth, however, are leaving. Only 11% of Midwest agriculture students plan to return to family farms, per a 2025 survey. As Kansas burns, Saskatchewan builds, and the world notices. Kansas's fields burn, but Saskatchewan's exports grow. Why are farmers forced to destroy their own crops? What would you do if your life's work went up in smoke? Number 5, Illinois, the bare fields. By mid-April 2025, central Illinois should buzz with planting season. Instead, vast fields in Logan, Sangamon, and Christian counties lie bare. The Illinois Farm Bureau reports a 13% rise in unplanted acreage, the highest in over a decade. Farmers aren't lazy, they're calculating. Planting seeds, fertilizer, and fuel cost more than the crops will fetch. Some burn early growth to cut losses before debts mount. In western Illinois, early field clearing is trending, crops plowed under or torched. A Peoria equipment supplier saw a 30% drop in orders, and a Decatur feed plant shelved expansion. Rural banks face a surge in debt, restructuring requests. Illinois, once a soybean powerhouse, is draining its agricultural lifeblood. As Illinois fields fall silent, we head to a neighboring state where the nation's kitchen is facing its own reckoning. What does this mean for America's food supply? With 13% more unplanted land in Illinois, how will this impact national food production? Number 4, Montana. The Golden Triangle's dimming light. In Montana's Golden Triangle, where rolling plains once fed America's wheat and livestock needs, a haunting stillness has settled. The Montana Agricultural Bureau reports a 12% drop in harvested acreage in Q1 2025 compared to 2024. Wheat prices have sunk below $4.80 per bushel, while fuel and fertilizer costs climb relentlessly. Farmers facing losses uproot young crops or burn fields to enrich the soil for future seasons. A 3-year drought in eastern Montana has parched grazing lands, doubling feed costs and forcing ranchers to downsize herds or relocate. In towns like Shelby and Cut Bank, farm supply stores board up windows and pastures lie neglected. This isn't a sudden fall, it's a gradual erosion of a region's lifeblood. As Montana's plains grow quiet, we turn to a coastal state where small-scale farming, once a symbol of hope, struggles to endure. With 12% of Montana's farmland unharvested, how can we restore its agricultural spark? Number 3, Maine. The waning dream of local farms. Maine's small farms, with their organic greens and pasture-raised poultry, have long inspired visions of sustainable living. But in 2025, that vision is fading. The Maine Sustainable Agriculture Network notes that 15% of small farms halted operations in Q1. overwhelmed by rising costs and labor shortages. Insurance premiums now eat up 10% of crop revenue, and weakened local demand leaves farmers stranded. Unharvested kale and berries rot in fields as transport networks falter. In Augusta, farmers' markets shut early due to scarce produce, and a Waterville training center postpones workshops. Warehouses along the coast, once packed with fresh goods, now rent space for community events to stay afloat. Maine's dream of local abundance is at risk. While Maine's farms falter, we head to a Midwest state where a cornerstone of American agriculture faces its own quiet struggle. With 15% of Maine's small farms pausing, can sustainable agriculture survive? Number 2. Missouri, a Heartland's hidden strain. Missouri, with its 90,000 farms, has been a quiet powerhouse for corn, soybeans, and livestock. Yet in 2025, its fields tell a story of strain. The Missouri Farm Bureau reports that 8% of farmland in the southern region was cleared mid-season, with crops left unharvested to avoid mounting losses. Soybean prices hover below break-even, and export deals to Asia have dwindled. Farmers burn fields to cut costs, while hog farms sell off stock as feed prices soar. A Joplin packing plant slashed output by half, and farm equipment dealers in Jefferson City report a freeze in loans. In small towns, the absence of harvest festivals and bustling markets signals a deeper void. In Missouri's crisis is subtle but profound, a heartland holding its breath. Missouri's struggles lead us to another Midwest giant, where a pillar of America's food supply teeters on the edge. With 8% of Missouri's farmland abandoned, what will revive its rural heartbeat? Number 1. Nebraska, a giant silent surrender. At the top of our top 10 America Beyond countdown stands Nebraska, a titan of corn, soybeans, and beef now grappling with an unsettling calm. The Nebraska Institute of Agriculture reports a 20% increase in unharvested or burned acres in Q1 25 compared to 2024. Grain prices far below labor costs have driven farmers to destroy crops for insurance payouts. In North Platte, a celebrated 2020 farm lies in disrepair, its rusted equipment a testament to broken dreams. Feed mills in Hastings cut 15% of their workforce, and a Lincoln grain elevator ceased operations. Towns grow quieter, empty cafes, shrinking classrooms, and farmers staring at scorched fields, their heritage fading. Yet Nebraska's spirit endures, whispering of resilience amid the silence. This is Top 10 America Beyond, shining a light on a crisis where quiet losses speak louder than flames. With 20% more unharvested land in Nebraska, can this pillar rise again? Like, comment, and subscribe to join us in exploring America's future. Share your thoughts. How do we save our farms? Conclusion: a nation at a crossroads. America's agricultural soul stands at a critical juncture where every choice shapes our future. From Iowa's unsold harvests to Kansas's smoldering fields, the struggles of our farmers signal a deeper unraveling. Once feeding nations like Egypt and Nigeria, the US now sees Canada's $45.4 billion, Saskatchewan exports, and $3.84 billion Ontario vegetable trade dominate markets we once owned. This shift isn't just about crops, it's about the lettuce in your fridge, the steak on your plate, and the pride of a nation slipping away. Can we reverse this tide? The signs are undeniable. In California, lettuce costs $6 a bunch, and in Seattle, cherries double in price yet vanish from shelves. Families in Fresno skip greens, and schools in Los Angeles drop salads, as rural towns grow silent without harvest's bustle. Meanwhile, Canada's precision shines, Saskatchewan's rail lines and Manitoba's pre-harvest deals deliver to Japan, and the Philippines with unmatched reliability. Their campus-to-crop program builds a new generation, while only 11% of Midwest youth choose farming. This is our moment to act. Will we bolster our farmers with better logistics and labor support, or let Canada's cold storage and long-term contracts redefine global trade? Top 10 America Beyond challenges you. How do we save our heartland? With $50 billion in projected losses looming, we must innovate, invest, and inspire. Like, comment, and subscribe to fuel this conversation. Our fields are fertile, our people resilient. Let's reclaim America's agricultural crown before it's too late.